understanding your elimination period is very important. In some cases, hospital stays, a rehab stay, home health visits, caregivers, moving into an assisted living, skilled nursing, or memory care, sometimes some of those can play into counting toward your elimination period. So just this week, we are starting with a new client that spent 30 days in the hospital, 46 days in rehab, but has a 90-day elimination period. Well, they knew the hospital 30 days, the 46 days in rehab, they count toward his elimination period. So the 14 days that they have left to get to 90, those are the only days that they're going to have to pay out of pocket for caregivers. On the 91st day, that's when they're going to start to see the reimbursement for caregiver services. So the irony is this new client sold long-term care insurance. And so he was very familiar with the hospital stay, the rehab stay, counting toward his elimination period. They were literally counting the days so that they knew how many more days of caregiver services until the policy starts to reimburse. Now, the irony is this new client sold long-term care insurance. And not only that, but he had a folder set up that all his spouse, his children, they knew exactly where it was. They knew the policy number. As he opened up the claim, they had the claim information. He had his date of birth, social security, all the necessary information right there in hand. He had already created a power of attorney over his medical and over his financial. That was already on hand. And they have communicated all of that and all of this all along the way with the long-term care insurance carrier. And that's important to keep the hospital papers, to keep the rehab stay, and to communicate that along the way. This was as they were opening up a claim against their policy, so that they were in the loop on all of these steps. And then they're going to show the first invoice of care and the second invoice of care, so that way there's proof of the hospital, the rehab, the caregivers, so that way, like I said, from the 91st day on, they're going to receive a reimbursement now that they're utilizing their long-term care insurance policy. I think the communication on this case has been excellent. They communicated early and often with the long-term care insurance carrier. They had documentation of their communication. They had documentation of their hospital and rehab stays. They had gone ahead and let the long-term care insurance carrier know who they had selected as a home care provider, and then just pulling in the spouse, the children, making sure all parties understand from a communication standpoint all about long-term care insurance. I think we could all learn, because you need to have an elder law attorney, a financial planner, an accountant, your own lawyer, and family, power of attorneys. Everyone needs to be aware that you have a long-term care insurance policy, where it is, the benefits that surround it, how long the elimination period is before you can get started and before you start getting reimbursed for it. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out. But there are many cases where a home health visit, rehab stay, hospitalization, that time in many cases, it can count toward the elimination period, but it is very policy specific.